Morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Monday, November 2nd, 2020, 10 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And it's a Monday, so that means it's weekly news and announcements day. I have tried to contact the person who has the giveaway option, so I haven't heard back from him yet, so I'm just going to keep it close to my vest for the time being, but if you haven't heard from me, it's probably not you. Unless there's a spam folder doing something weird or some sort of other thing slowing it down. Anyway, we'll get that sorted soon enough. I guess the big news is that this coming weekend will be GameHole Con. And I say big news in the world of gaming sense. Obviously, there's a lot more going on in the world, but that's not what this show is about. It's not the sort of news that we deal with. So, November 5th to 8th, virtual GameHole Con. I've got a game I'm running on Saturday and a game on Sunday in the afternoon. I believe, last I checked, they were both full, unless somebody had to drop. Always keep your eyes open for that. I'm also going to be doing quote unquote seminars, 10 a.m. Central, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be doing the OK Grognard Show, essentially as seminars. And we'll do the usual themes that we do. Thursday will be GMing tips, Friday, building adventures, Saturday, GM reviews, and Sunday, rules retrospective, looking at first edition rules and digging into them a little bit deeper than the books would have us know about out of the gate. How's that? Moving that mic around. Not sure what I'm going to deal with exactly. Maybe Thursday should be something kind of convention oriented. GMing tips for those who want to run games at conventions. I don't know, something like that. Probably be good. Building adventures, putting together a one-shot adventure for a convention. Be a good idea. Hey, there's Bill. How's it going? Minor Realm Games. GM tips for cons would be great. Yeah, I can't say that I wouldn't be mimicking some of the things you do in your seminars for sure, as far as giving out some of the same advice. Not that any one of us invented all of this stuff, but I think we curate game master advice more than anything else. Occasionally, we'll come up with some sort of we'll have some sort of epiphany for some sort of a newfangled way of doing one thing or another, but often it's a twist on some old chestnut, some old subsystem or way of doing something that works out. Nevertheless, 50 minutes for each of these shows because we need to stop 10 minutes before the hour with GameHole Con so people can get to their other events at noon, or rather at 11. So we'll be doing 10 a.m. to 10:50-ish. We'll probably, I wonder how exact we can hit the mark each time. Like a real professional show. DMing tips then will be con-based. Friday, building adventures. That's a tricky one for conventions. You have to consider how much time you have to run it. You have to consider whether or not you want there to be some sort of a closing final act. You want to figure out ways to make sure you get to the big boss or that it's available to get to. Certainly, people can spend the first 2 hours of a convention game running around the city buying stuff. I've seen it happen. It's crazy. You try to steer people more and more toward the adventure, and they keep, how much is rope? It's like, okay, I guess we're doing this. Well, what kind of rope? And this is what you're gonna enjoy. We're gonna make the most of it. Now, if this one person is the only one doing that, and there's 5 other people sitting around your game table, looking at you when you ask what kind of rope, as if you've lost all your marbles, then there's a good chance that one player has already bought the marbles and now has moved on to rope. So there you go. Building adventures, though, is a kind of a fun thing. You definitely have to look at the time slot. You've got to figure out how many encounters you can squeeze in within that period. It's based on the system, of course, in some ways. Some people like to have some character creation at the table. I'm not a fan of that. I like having pre-generated characters that are all ready to go. If I can start in media res, if I can start in the middle of an encounter or at the beginning of an encounter and things kick off right into some sort of a catastrophe or a battle or something action oriented, I think that sets the mood. We'll talk more about it on Friday, but that's the sort of thing you can expect. GM reviews on Saturday. Well, I've GM reviewed Sword and Sorcery animated cartoon series stuff, like the D&D animated cartoons and some Conan the Barbarian animated cartoons. Movies, I just did Pandorum last Saturday for Halloween as one of my favorite horror flicks. And you can combine horror with space. That's when, because I don't watch a lot of horror. I really do like my sci-fi though, so that's a good thing. What we'll do with this Saturday GM reviews, I'm not completely sure. I'm going to have to think about that one. It'll probably be some sort of movie. It's going to have to be a movie I can do 50 minutes on, though, right? So it's going to have to be a pretty chunky movie. I could do a book, game book, something outside. Maybe do a website, web series, a bunch of stuff. I've done specific things in the past, like one particular website or one particular vendor out there. I've also done ones on like mapping programs in general and then looked at a bunch of stuff. I've done some on generators. But I haven't done them as GM reviews. I don't know how that would work out. I'll figure something out. Rules retrospective. Well, we started on the mechanics for waterborne adventures on yesterday. And there's enough there that is going to require a second episode. But I don't want to do a part 2 on I want these to stand alone. They're 50 minutes. So I'm going to pick up that part 2 the following Sunday. And this coming Sunday will be a rules retrospective all on its own. What do we want to talk about? Figure something out. First edition, or maybe something that is in first edition that's carried over from maybe deities. deities and demigods. I wonder if we can start with this and move into maybe I'm not convinced. Maybe we can look at some aspect of wargaming for rules. Nah, not for rules. I don't know. We have to give it a little more thought. Jail Rune. I've never run an adventure for a con. Maybe I'll listen in and get the bug. Yeah, you know. Although, how many conventions do you go to? Do you go to a lot of conventions and game days? Have you played on a lot of games at conventions and game days? Roughly, how old are you? 40, 50, 30, 20, 80? My oldest follower. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's definitely something that I think usually grabs people pretty early, even if they don't run something right away. Here's my cool story and a great setting. PC. I'd like to read every book in the library right now for the next 4 hours. Yeah, right? What are the titles? I just looked down the spines of the rows in the library. What are the titles? I just want to know what the titles are. Then I'll decide if I'm going to read any of them. Can you just rattle them off in succession? What section am I in? Do they use a doppelganger decimal system? What is their shelving protocol? That would be a lot less fun for most people. But there's somebody out there who thinks that was a great way to spend 4 hours at a convention. And I don't know who that person is. But, as they say in the South, bless their little heart. Because they are a gamer too. But you gotta please a handful of people. Now, I don't bring stories, Bill. This is one of the big differences between the way you run games and the way I run games, whether it's conventions or otherwise. And I've been getting even further and further away from story with these adventures that I ran at GameHole Con, Virtual Autumn Revel, and now the ones set up for GameHole Con are a continuous sandbox set in the sort of mini setting of the original Giants series. And they've been doing their best to work their way into the steading. I call it insteading with the Giants, just because Gary would never forgive me if I didn't include a pun right at the beginning. So it's a sandbox. I'm not a storytelling GM. I throw story elements into a setting, but until the players interact with it, I don't know what's going to happen. And they pick up on the things they want to pick up on. I always think of the sandbox and storytelling GMs at two ends of a spectrum. I don't think anybody's all one or all the other. I think you fall somewhere in between, and I think you, Bill, lean much more towards story, and I lean much more towards sandbox. I throw all these elements out there. They pick them up, they interact with them, they interpret them in different ways. They tell me their actions. I mostly randomize the potential results and tell them the consequences of their actions, and then they move on. Then we rinse and repeat. Looking forward to the Saturday game. Hey George, how's it going? Impossible tasks, says Sarah. Oh, that is the archive protocol with prototype for ISBN. This is for the library books, yeah. Mini realms. Oh, nice. Magical barcode. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's Bill. Bill Petrosky does some fantastic seminars. If you have an open slot, and what time you got seminars at GameHole Con, Bill? Why don't you plug what times they are and the names of them if you want to drop them in? I don't think you can drop a link in, but you can drop in the name and the time for the events into the chat here. In case some of these people, they're all going. Badges, I believe. GL Rune, are you going to GameHole Con? Are you planning to get over there and check out some of the seminars? Maybe get into a game or two? Should be fun. So mine's a lot looser. But obviously, when we talk about that spectrum, right? It doesn't matter. I'll never get to the far end of that spectrum in the sandbox because I can't think of everything. And absolutely everything should be in there. So the only story elements they have, which is why this moves a little bit back this way, the only story elements they have are the ones I provide. And unless I'm providing everything, I'm not truly completely sandbox. I am, by virtue of the fact of my own bias or my own creativity limits, I am steering toward one kind of a story or another and steering away from some. There's certainly some real world issues that would probably trigger some folks that I do not bring to the game table because I don't want to deal with them myself. And if I'm not having fun, well, players aren't going to have fun either. So we just leave certain things by the wayside. For you, you're not all the way over to the other side of the spectrum because you're not just sitting there telling a story while everybody else sits and listens. They interact with you and with that story and affect it in ways that you aren't doing yourself. So you're not all the way over to that end. So we're closer than the full parameters of that spectrum, but we're both toward one side or the other of it. No virtual GameHole Con for us. Hard at work getting ready to get our module wrapped up for editing and playing on Twitch for Extra Life Game Day. Nice. Is Game Day, Extra Life Game Day, this Saturday? Or is it further into November? Also, he says, I agree. My campaigns lean to the story side of the spectrum. Oh yeah, it's evident in your excellent seminars, which Minor Realm Games on YouTube, right? Will have archived video recordings of seminars that you've done at previous conventions, as well as live gameplay that you record. Saturday the 7th. Yep, that's this Saturday. I wonder... see, now, GameHole Con will always fall on the first full weekend in November, which is why, even though Sunday was the first, yesterday was the first, technically the first weekend, no? No, not the first full weekend of November. Now, that being the case, if I'm not wrong, Extra Life Game Day falls on the same weekend every year then. So I imagine there's a number of events, and I haven't looked into it myself, but I'm guessing there's a number of events that are going to be part of GameHole Con that are also tied to Extra Life. They will probably be raising some money. But always, Minor Realms, if any of you others that are here haven't already started following Bill's channel here on Twitch, please do so. He does some great stuff over there, and you'll enjoy it. I know it for a fact. So last time we left off, Autumn Revel on Sunday, the adventuring party had come in through the east gate of the steading and were making an assault. They had more information than they've had in the past. I'll recap that at the beginning of the session on Saturday. But this will be the first one we've started where people had not gone back to town and then made a fresh start at this. So we've kind of cut it off in mid adventure, if you will, and that's where we'll be starting. Now I know Sarah was part of that Sunday. George, were you there on Sunday or were you there on Saturday? That's a question. We'll have to make sure that you can reclaim your character. Muthin, though, that was Sarah's character, and she's got dibs on that. She's been playing that longer than she was one of the first, so she gets first crack at that. But Saturday for you, so you know what's going on though, because you've been in and out of it already once, so that's good. So we'll have a couple of experienced players, specifically experienced with this scenario, if you will. So you know what you're in for. Oh, you were the ranger, right? That's right. You almost died when you were there when your character was there the first time, almost died, but everybody's in good shape this time. There was a lot of stuff happening out in the perimeter, which was expanded because, they weren't as lax as they were early on, now that they know someone's trying to do them in and has attacked their steading twice already with devastating results. Now they're coming in through the third gate. They came in through the south, they came in through the north, and now they're coming in through the east. And they're out for blood. But there have been some reinforcements brought in. Some of the higher ups back in civilization have sent out some other forms of aid, which could be trouble. Carried out Sarah's character. That's right. That's right. If it wasn't for you, Muthin could have been a corpse at the steading. But man, that was a tough break. But you lived through it. All the characters lived, and that's a big deal. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we've covered everything. Is there something else to talk about for Virtual GameHole Con? If you haven't signed up for stuff, go take another look. There may have been some boss room with the bear, indeed. Boss room with the cave bear. There may have been some extra events added, not from me, but to the Virtual GameHole Con schedule, so it might be worth going and taking a look if you haven't loaded up your schedule already. I don't know what else to say. It's always possible that some of the events that were full already may have had somebody drop because of things that have come up in their schedule since then. Some people that weren't working might be going back to work. Some people might have come back out of this pandemic with different work than they were doing before, so their schedule might be different, which may have screwed up their plans for GameHole Con. So check things out. Have a look. See what you think. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, quite frankly. Anywho, let's wind her down then, because unless there's any questions in the stream chat, I do just want to say thanks to everybody who's following the channel and who's chiming in on the stream chat today and each and every day. Let's see, I gotta get all of you fine folk into the list, the usual giveaway list. Gel Rune, there we go. Got you in there. And Artanis, we'll get you in there as usual. Very good. And Luxfire, we'll get you in there too, George. If you're lurking, feel free to speak up in this stream chat before we close her out for the day, because that is how you get on the list. That's how you get on the list, a list of known non-bots, if that makes sense. No sense putting on people on a list for a giveaway if they're a chat bot. So we just ask people that are here following the channel to chime in, and that's all you got to do to be put on the list. So there you go. Alrighty. Thanks to all of you. Thanks for following. Thanks for chiming in. Have a good day. I will say, by the way, though, weekly news and announcements. I'll get back to everybody on the acceptance of last week's. What do we got coming up this week? Well, Tuesday, cartography and world building. Wednesday, campaign discussion. Those will be regular size shows. We'll have supersized 50-minute long shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. GMing tips on Thursday. Building adventures on Friday. GM reviews on Saturday. Rules retrospective on Sunday, and we're going to try to gear those a little more toward convention-oriented material. And then back around the horn on Monday to weekly news and announcements. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please do subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up on any videos you watch. Also, if you have some constructive criticism, add it into the comment section. It's always nice when we can make the show a little better, and we appreciate any feedback toward that end from anybody who listens. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, 10 a.m. daily, 7 days a week. Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.